and I would like to discuss about the British Empire, whether it was for the greater good or it has like a devilish purpose. Start with the historical context setting stage. The British Empire was one of the most extensive empire in history, lasting from 16th to 20th century, controlling vast territories across Asia, Africa, the Americas, and beyond. Its impact is debated. Was it a civilized mission, as some proponents claim, or system of exploitation? Many writers explore these complexity through literature, such as Rudyard Kipling and George Orwell. This presentation examines the legacy of the British Empire by comparing Lisbeth's and shooting of an elephant. Kipling's work reflects the colonial attitudes of superiority of while Oswald critiques of imperialism as morally corrupt. This perspective highlights the malfunctioning impact of the British Empire. Summary of Lisbeth. Lisbeth is set in British controlled India, tells the story of a young Indian girl raised by missionaries. Lisbeth, originally from a rural Himalayan tribe, adopts British customs, Christianity, but remain marginalized by the British she admired. She falls in love with an Englishman, but her trust is betrayed when the missionary deceives her, claiming he will return to marry her when he has no such intentions. And the themes of these stories are cultural coalition. Lisbeth is an Indian identity clashes with the British way of life imposed upon her by the missionaries. The betrayal and hypocrisies mean missionaries deceive the reflection of the exploitative and condemns the nature of the colonialism. Loss of identity, Lisbeth's assimilation into the British custom alienates her from her native roots of being an Indian girl. A quote illustrates this. She was a very pretty girl. The hill women are often very pretty, but Lisbeth had been made a Christian, and the missionary was a very proud of her. This highlights the British Empire of the civilizing of the natives through the eyes of them agencies. And the contrast to Lisbeth was the shooting of elephant. The themes are like Lisbeth reflects on the colonial superiorities. British sees themselves benevolent civilizers through their action often harm very people they claim to help. In contrast, the shooting of an elephant critiques the empire from within, focusing on the psychological toll of the enforcement colonial rule. Orwell narrates the trap by exploitation of authorities, symbolizing the oppressive nature of imperialism. Settings: the Lisbeth is set in rural India, emphasizing of the imposing of the British custom on traditional societies, and isolating villages mirrors Lisbeth's personal isolation between the two cultures. Shooting of an elephant takes place in urban Burma when the colonial authority is openly resented by local populations. Hostile atmosphere reflects the fraction between the oppressive and the oppressed. Character: the Lisbeth represent the colonial subject caught between cultures and powerless against the British dominance. Orwell's narrator embodies the conflict colonizer, morally opposed to the imperialism but forced to uphold authority. Tone and perspective: Kipling tone is Lisbeth patronizing her presence, the British as well as the but oblivious to the harms of these causes, reflecting the British mindset of the time. Oswald's tone is shooting of an elephant critical and reflects the exposure of the moral and ethnic condemnation of the imperialism. comparison through the coat, shooting of an elephant. When the white man turns tyrant, it is his own freedom that he destroys. This illustrates Oswald's view of a colonialism as oppression for both the oppressor and the oppressed. Lisbeth, it takes a great deal of Christianity to wipe out uncivilized instincts. This highlights the condemnation of the attitude of the missionaries who view the Indian cultures as inferior and barbaric. When was the British Empire a good idea? The argument for the empire brought infrastructure, railways, education system, legal system to many of the colonizers. Kipling's works implies the British influence elevates civilized narratives. Criticism of the empire from Oswald's perspective, exploitation of the colonized people, suffering economic, cultural oppression, moral decay. Colonizer like to Oswald narratives were dehumanized by the roles, trapped by the despised, and violent representatives of Oswald conquest that required maintain the control leading to hatred on both sides. Critical evaluations. While the empire introduced the modernizations, often did so at a great cost to the colonized, stripping them of their autonomy and identity. Kipling's patriotic view, with Oswald's more renowned critique views, relieves the deep flaws of the imperial project. Modern historians agree that the empire had its benefit and cannot outreach the lasting harm it caused. And as the final conclusion, Lisbon of a shooting elephant often two contrasting lenses through which view of the British Empire. Kipling portrays the empire as a civilizing force with abilities flaws. Oswald criticized of the systems of oppression and the corrupt all involved. Together with these works highlights the complexities of empire, legacy of technologies, progress, the culture exchange, interview with exploitation and moral conflict. And as a final reflection, the British Empire history continues to spark debate whether it was a force for good or did it cause overweight benefits to those they colonized. The answer depends on who the protectors are we prioritize, the colonizer or the colonized.